Well, hello there, Tampa Bay, and welcome to the Tampa Bay Community Network Sports Show. I'm your host, Coach Chuck White, and my guest is Coach Joe Urso from the University of Tampa Baseball. He's been the head baseball coach for many years, and we are privileged to have him. And we're going to talk about many of his experiences, not only at Tampa, University of Tampa, but throughout his coaching career. Well, Coach, first of all, I'd like to say welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have men of your caliber here, and I know our many viewers and listeners are going to get much from this show because we have plenty to talk about. Coach, first thing is, tell us about your early coaching experience. But first, I think I'm jumping ahead of myself. How much baseball were you involved with either as a player prior to coaching?
Well, I played at Plant High School, University of Tampa, and then played 5 years in the minor leagues with the Angels. So during some of my professional time, when I started getting towards the end, I realized, might be running out of time, maybe not talented enough to make it to the big leagues, and might need to get into coaching one day, and that's how it all started for me.
Was Danny Rivera probably your coach, or who was your coach over at Plant High School?
Jeff Vardo.
Jeff Vardo, yeah. Jeff Vardo was also a basketball player over there too, wasn't he?
Yes.
Went to the University of South Florida, Savannah.
Yeah. I believe he was a Robinson High grad. And
yes, that's where it was, Robinson High, yes. Well, anyway, it's been some time back, and then I understand you said you played at the University of Tampa. Who was your coach there?
I was under Lelo Prado for 4 years, and was very fortunate to be part of the first national championship in 1992 as a senior second baseman.
And what got you into baseball? I know everybody have a way that they say something, somebody asks them, or they start playing. Tell us what got you into baseball, per se.
Well, it was definitely in the bloodlines. My dad was president of Palmacia Little League, and all my brothers played baseball. My one sister played softball, so we were around the Little League parks all day long as youngsters, and just always loved it, and just very fortunate that I'm able to do this for a living.
Bloodline, who was your father and your sister?
My dad is actually an electrician by trade, Rico Urso, but he just was always around the Little Leagues and helping out, and became president of Palmacia Little League. So we were around the park doing a lot of work.
Who were some of your notable players, the guys who played for you, went up the ladder like and played for major league or minor league balls?
I've had a couple who've come through our program. Mike Rebello, a catcher, made it up with the Detroit Tigers, played a little bit with the Marlins as well, and Charlie Manning, a left-handed pitcher, made it up with a couple clubs. The Cardinals was one of them, and of course, Tampa's known for Tino Martinez and Lou Piniella. Ozzie Timmons came through there. The associate head coach currently at the University of Tampa, a good friend of mine. We've worked together now for 14 years. Sam Militello made it to the big leagues as well. And Jeff Carter, a right-handed pitcher, also made it to the big leagues with the White Sox. So we've had quite a few come through Tampa.
How long have you been coaching at the University of Tampa?
I'm on my 14th season now. I started coaching with the Angels. Once I was done with my playing career there, I went up to Bill Bavasi. He was the general manager at the time of the Angels, and let him know of my interest in getting into coaching when my playing days were done. So I was fortunate enough to coach 2 years in the minor leagues with the Angels and manage 2 years with the Angels. And then me and my wife, we were about to have our first baby boy and decided it was time to stop traveling in the minor leagues and come back home and take over at my alma mater.
What are the differences you've seen between the minor league coaching and the college coaching?
Well, it's definitely a lot more work in college. You have to do all the recruiting, get out and find your own players. You're basically the general manager, you're the scouting department, and you're the obviously the head coach and the manager. Whereas the minor leagues, they bring you the players and you just develop them. So really enjoy the college life though.
You've had a national championship team, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
When was that? Tell us something about how you got into it and what you enjoyed about it.
Well, 2001 was my first year at Tampa, and we made it to a few World Series. We were runner-up one year, but we finally got the first national championship in 2006 under myself and Coach Militello. And we won in 06, 07, and then last year we brought home our third national championship, and it was the 6th overall for the university.
Oh man, you've done really well, remarkably well since you've been there. Do you have any returning players from that national championship team?
Yeah, we return most of our position players. We have 6 returning position players. The pitching staff, we have one of our main bullpen guys back, but we lost a lot of the pitchers to the baseball draft. We had 7 more signed professional contracts last year, and that seems has become a lot more common at the University of Tampa. A lot of players have been moving on to the minor leagues and chasing that dream of hopefully one day becoming a major leaguer.
Since you've had some bullpen players, pitchers, what about your starters?
We're young this year. We start on the weekend. We have 3-man rotation on the weekend, and we have 2 sophomores and a freshman right now. So they are Trey Ost, who is out of Durant High School, David Heinz, and Jake Milok are our 3-man rotation. We have a veteran bullpen, though. We have the 2 seniors and a junior in the bullpen, so they're able to make up a lot of that slack for the young starting pitchers. But you know, we feel like the future's real bright on the mound for us because of that youth.
Would you say pitching is the most important product of the baseball team?
Without a doubt. You know, it's we feel really good about our offense this year, but we know in order to make a championship run, those young pitchers are going to have to develop throughout this year and be ready for that playoff run towards the end.
What is the expectation of a pitcher when he goes to the mound? You expect him to go all the way, of course, but usually after so many pitches or so many innings, what is that? What's expected?
Yeah, the game's changed a little bit with the the specialties and the back end of the bullpen with the setup guys and the closer. So we've changed along with it. We have our starters on a strict pitch count. We try to keep them in that 90 pitch to 100 pitch limit. We feel like by the 6th, 7th inning, they should be right around that pitch count if they've done a good job, and then we can turn it over to our bullpen, to the closer or the setup and closer, depending on how the score of the game's going for us.
Here's a question I like to ask you for the purpose for our many viewers and listeners. When a pitcher pitches that day and when he comes off the mound, do you have trainers to do something to his arm or get him ready or put on a jacket or something? Tell me some of the steps you take.
Yeah, there's a couple schools of thought, and some of our guys, it'll vary. Most of them do prefer to ice after they come out and just kind of get the inflammation down a little bit. But I know there's other pitchers that don't like to ice and they just like to run the next day. So most of my guys, they will ice right after they come out of the game, and then the next day they go on a long run just to get a good flush, to help out with the inflammation in the elbow and the shoulder area as they start to get ready for their next bullpen leading up to their next start.
Okay. How many days rest do you give them?
Right now in college, we try to keep them with the 6 days rest. So it's a little bit different than in the major leagues where they're throwing every 5 days. Most of our guys will throw every Friday night, and our other 2 starters will throw on Saturday. We play a doubleheader, so the other 2 throw on the Saturdays.
You've had such an outstanding thing happen to both you and the players as a baseball program. You were invited to go to Cuba, or did you suggest that you wanted to go to Cuba? How did all this happen? I understand you did go to Cuba.
Well, we had a lot of returners off this championship team, and I felt like I wanted to do something really special for them. I was looking into a trip to the Dominican, And Councilman Charlie Miranda approached me. He's a friend of mine, and told me about his trip back in 1954 when he went with a lot of the West Tampa youth kids into Cuba and played baseball, and how he remembered it as one of his top experiences of his life. So he got together with Julio Gonzalez, and they started spreading the word around town, and many people helped out with our fundraising efforts to make the trip possible.
You never called me to make any contribution there. I guess you know I had no tingo dinero. Is that what you said? Didn't have much money. Well, anyway, did you have any opposition where some of the high echelon at the University of Tampa did not want you to go?
No, they all they welcomed our idea, and you know, President Ron Vaughn and the international department did a great job putting everything together for us to make the trip possible. There was another group from University of Tampa actually there studying during the same week, so they came out and watched one of our baseball games and supported us during one of our wins over there. So the whole university was behind us. It was a great experience for our boys to see the difference in the cultures.
You know, Fidel Castro had a lot to say about his people coming to America, and we had a lot to say about our people going to Cuba. Did you have any nervous tensions? Any players felt a little nervous about going over there? How did they receive you, first of all?
We were definitely going over, you know, we definitely had some nerves not knowing how we would be received. But once we got through that first day, they were so nice and welcomed us with open arms. I mean, they really love having Americans in their country. So it was a great experience for all of our guys. After the first day, we realized that we were not threatened at all. You could walk through the streets. Mm-hmm. You were as safe as anywhere you could walk in Tampa. They really embraced us and made us feel at home over there.
Well, what did the players and you as a coach, what did you learn from that experience?
Well, you know, we take so much for granted here in the United States, and so many of my players, especially at a private school where, you know, maybe their parents have a little bit of, you know, middle class to upper class, to go over there and see, you know, some of the way things are done there. And there's not many automobiles. They're still living in the 40s and 50s with a lot of bicycles and carriages where, you know, the dads are pedaling their bikes with their kids behind it. So
wow.
It was eye-opening, and our guys came back with a new perspective on how things are done and a new appreciation for what they have.
Talk about your living quarters and your restaurants where you had to eat food.
That we were at a five-star hotel on the water, so we were spoiled when it came to you know, the living arrangements. The food was outstanding. The Cuban food is, you know, we have a lot of great Cuban food in Tampa, obviously, with all the ties here. But some of the black beans and rice and the chicken and the pork, it was as good as you would expect it to be. And we had some great meals. The restaurants were a lot smaller, compared a lot to Columbus Boulevard, and some of the restaurants that you would eat there were, you know, we were cramming in 35, 40 people into a restaurant and taking it over basically. Mm-hmm. But had a good time. The players definitely enjoyed eating the good Cuban food.
What about the lingo there, the language is being spoken around there? How did the players fit into that?
There was some language barriers for sure. Some of the people there, you know, they're very bright people, the Cuban people. So some of them were bilingual. We were fortunate enough to have Coach Militello as well as Coach Jose Jimenez, both bilingual to help us out, you know, in translating with some of the Cuban people. Two of our players were fluent in Spanish as well. So whenever we got around town and people wanted to ask us questions about our culture, we were able to definitely have dialogue there with the university, as well as we talked with some of the baseball guys there. We had 3 baseball games there. That was an amazing experience for our guys, and we won all three, so that made it nice.
Well, tell me this, did you take any photographs, did you take any pictures, or they take pictures of you? Did they get into your autographs, or you got autographs of them? Talk about that.
Yeah, we took more pictures than you could imagine, and nowadays with technology, we have a great memories on our website of our trip to Cuba. Our players, they mingled with a lot of the major leaguers there. They bought the uniforms right off their bat. So our guys were really excited to be able to buy, all the different jerseys, the Cuban Major League Baseball hats. They were also able to donate a lot of our equipment to the association in Cuba to help them with baseball bats, catching gear, baseballs. Pretty much everything our guys took over, we donated at the end, and it made you feel really good knowing what some of the people go through there, and that they don't have a lot of the things that we take for granted.
Who all the people who went on the trip? The administration of University of Tampa? Did any parents go, or any of the just spectators or fans or something? I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, we did have 11 family members with us as well. So we traveled with a party of 36 coaches and players, and another 11 parents, as well as Charlie Miranda and Julio Gonzalez, who were a big part of the trip. And because they had been there, they knew what to expect, and we felt very safe being around them. But the parents, it was nice having them there to help me supervise the boys, as well as my coaching staff. One of the families was able to go there and see where their parents were born, in the house they lived in, and go see their cousins and aunts for the first time ever. And that was an amazing, I got chills when the dad came up to me and told me that they didn't even make it into the house. When they got to the porch, they all just embraced and started crying.
Wow.
So, that was really neat that they were able to go visit their family, because of the University of Tampa allowing us to put a trip together like this.
Charlie Miranda, he's one of the highest esteemed in the political field here in America. So going over there to Cuba, maybe he knew some of their high esteem. Is that so?
Always possible. He's knows a lot of people in town. I grew up playing ball against his son. That's how the relationship started. And when he told me about his experience, going into there, I thought, what better opportunity than to take the defending national championship team into Cuba to experience their culture and play some baseball.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of things, and I'm really trying to let our viewers and listeners get the experience from your trip. But some people don't know maybe how the setup at the University of Tampa baseball program, what conference and what rankings do you have, et cetera, what divisions you play in and all that. Just go right through the lineup for us. Okay,
we're a Division II team. We're in the Sunshine State Conference. Sunshine State Conference is known throughout the country to be the Conference of Champions. Baseball, it's very strong. When you look at the past champions, we have won so many championships, not just the University of Tampa, but Florida Southern, Lynn University have all won, World Series in the last 20 years. So it's one of the top conferences in the country, year in, year out. Very competitive baseball.
Where do you rank in there? Where have you been ranked? How high have you been ranked?
We came out preseason #1, and right now we're 15-1 and making everyone look good. So right now we're holding on to that #1 spot, and hopefully we start conference play this weekend, and hopefully we can continue to stay hot.
Wow, 15-1. Do you have banquets to award these players or your coaching staff or anything of that nature? Recognitions?
Yeah, at the end of the year, the conference always has, academic awards as well as, you know, the all conference players, all regional, all American, and you know, we have a couple you know, great players locally. Our number 3 hitter Tyler Ding out of Alonzo High School, our number 4 hitter Michael Danner out of Gaither High School. So we have quite a list of local talent that's still in our club and hoping to repeat as champions.
Where do they receive these awards? You have some kind of special night, a banquet, a newspaper come in or something? How is that done?
The university does a good job of getting all the athletic teams together and presenting all the major awards to each sport so they can be recognized by their peers. We normally do that towards the end of the year in late April.
Is this at a banquet, something of that nature?
Yes, sir. We do a big banquet. They'll normally, you know, do a nice banquet hall somewhere, either at the university or off-site. But it's really nice getting all the kids together and seeing all the All-Americans in all the different sports.
Where was the last banquet held?
We held the last one at the University of Tampa in our basketball gym. We've also done some at Pepin Distributing. They have a beautiful room there as well that we've done some at.
Are there anything we didn't discuss that you would like to discuss so our listeners can get that experience?
I just, you know, I feel like I'm very fortunate to, you know, be working with such young, bright, talented kids who, you know, come to our university with the goal of obviously, number 1, of graduating from a private institution, and then number 2, of trying to win national championships, which we've obviously have done at a record pace right now, and then have a chance to move on and play professional baseball. So those are their 3 goals coming in, and you know, with the development plan that me and coaching staff and our associate head coach Sam Militello that we put together for these boys every day, we've done a pretty good job of allowing them to meet all 3 goals.
How much will an athlete get toward his scholarship? What's the best scholarship a baseball player can receive at the University of Tampa?
It's tough spreading out the money. At a Division II school, you're only allowed 9 baseball scholarships, where Division I, they're allowed 11.7 scholarships. So we do a really good job of trying to go after some good academic kids so we can package their scholarship with the academic money the school gives them. So it doesn't break our baseball budget, and we're able to spread it out, you know, hopefully to 15, you know, 18 kids to get some type of money. And then you always have to spend a little bit extra on those number 1 pitchers and catchers and shortstops, some of those premium positions.
I guess you might say you get tuition, room, board, and all the other necessities, but no extras.
Definitely no extras. The NCAA will not allow any extras.
Yes, yes. And you haven't had that problem as I know of.
No, you know, we don't have the money to worry about having those type of problems like some of the big schools that people read about. There's no extras going on at the small Division II schools. So.
Yeah. You don't play University of South Florida, do you?
Not anymore. Not anymore. When I was at Tampa as a player, our out-of-conference schedule was 15 Division I schools that included University of South Florida, University of Florida, Miami. We played Tennessee one year. So we used to play a lot of the Division I's. Now everything is a little bit tougher with the power rankings. The Division I's are trying to make sure that their power rankings are high enough to qualify for postseason play. So they've stopped playing a lot of the smaller schools because of that.
Well, what about preseason? You can't do it preseason, you know, not a scheduled game on your regular schedules.
Currently, the Division II schools are allowed 3 exhibition games. We're hoping the Division I schools pass that as well, because we'd like to bring back some type of community event where we're able to play University of South Florida and let all the fans come out, because there's so many local kids at both programs that would love to play against each other.
Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show. You've given our audience and our listeners much to remember, and it's certainly been a pleasure for me to hear the things you've said. So thank you again for coming, and much luck with the University of Tampa baseball program.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, that's it for the Tampa Bay Community Network Sports Talk Show. We certainly hope you've enjoyed the show this morning or today as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. So be with us again on our next show right here on the Tampa Bay Community Network Sports Talk.